Marshall.
Marshall. This is for the reader of your name, so don't lose it. And then you're going to line up on the other side of the cafeteria. And this is your
Thank you. I'm so excited to be done with school, but really excited to start my motorcycle trip tomorrow. For me, it's going to signify closing one chapter of my life and then beginning a new one. I'm sitting here laying out all of my equipment. Just makes me feel like at any moment that a drill sergeant's going to come down and we're going to do an inspection. This is exactly what it would look like if you were in basic training. You have all of your equipment laid out.
Hey, Private, what we got here, huh, Marshall? A little motorcycle trip layout? Oh, let's see how bad you screwed up, because today I'm feeling really frisky. Oh, what do we got here, Private Marshall? Bugs on your visor. No go. We're gonna make the walls sweat today, Marshall.
Even though we could tell that they were just finding things just to mess with us, it actually helped me out later in life.
Oh, we got some little footage here to keep our little feet dry in case it rains.
This is like this, where I'm taking this really big, long motorcycle trip. I have to be reliant on myself and my equipment. This is where I've really been appreciative of the strict discipline and enforcement that I received in the military.
Did a little test ride, and you can look over there. It would appear that it's going to rain soon.
Rain got me. The good thing about that is I'm actually kind of glad that it rained really bad on me, because that kind of forced me to look at how I'm packing the bike. So while I was out, picked up some dry bags for my sleeping bag and tent, and then I think I should be good. Now we got to dry everything out. Bike is ready for the trip.
Most of this trip I'll be on, I don't know, I guess this is a highway, what you consider a highway. Speeds are 55 miles an hour. I feel that this is not only a good touring speed for being on an electric motorcycle or just any motorcycle in general, but this gives me the best distance that I can travel plus range in the battery at 55 miles an hour with how much the motorcycle weighs, depending on how strong or if there are any headwinds. I can usually get around 100 miles. On highways like this, it's more interesting. There's more scenes. I have a few places or a few stops that I'll be staying with friends, but otherwise I'll pretty much be camping out.
First leg of the trip was 96 miles. I got here with 16% battery. So I have this little collapsible chair. that I use to...
I'm sure just saw a drug deal happen
between this truck and that car that's pulling away. I just find some shade, pop up in my chair, wait for the motorcycle to finish charging. Pretty much it. It's a good time to read, watch a movie. If I have any kind of work that I need to do, I can knock it out on my laptop. I also charge my cameras and other devices, and that's pretty much it. So I'm just gonna hang out, eat some lunch, wait for the bike to charge, and then I'll be back on the road.
Alright, so finished charging up here in Woodstock, Virginia. Now I'm on to some inn in West Virginia to a level 2 station. And the LiveWire can take level 2, but it doesn't charge at a level 2 rate because it technically doesn't have a level 2 charger. And so it's going to be a really slow charge for me. It'll be about 10 miles an hour that I'll gain when I'm hooked up to this charging station. So it's a little bit of a deliberate move, but I only have to charge for 2 hours there. That'll give me an additional 20 miles to make it to my level 3 charging station. It's 2:30 in the afternoon. I'm really hoping that I make it to where I want to go today, my destination today, for to set up my camping stuff, because I definitely don't want to do tonight because I did not bring like a flashlight or anything like that. So here's a hoping that I can get there in enough time with enough daylight. So we'll see if that happens. I'm also going through those mountains through West Virginia, and there's 3 things that really affect range on an electric motorcycle or any electric vehicle for that matter: elevation, low temperatures, and wind resistance. So if you're going into a headwind up a hill and it's really cold outside, your range is really going to go down, 10, 15, 20%. But hopefully there's no wind. It's nice and warm outside, so I don't have to worry about temperatures. But I do know that there's going to be a lot of elevation gain, so I'll see if how severely this impacts my range. Traveling by motorcycle, a little bit by car, but mainly by motorcycle is, there's nothing around me. It's just me in the air. I get to watch the terrain change. I get to watch it shrink and expand and twist and turn and stuff like that. If you travel in an airplane, it's like teleporting. One minute you're in flat ground, the next minute you're in mountains, or vice versa, or what have you. But by motorcycle, you get the full experience for how the region changes as you go on your journey. And even going through these little towns like this is all completely new to me. I've literally never been here before. To me, this is what this trip is all about: just seeing these new places, experiencing these new things that otherwise I would have not seen before. West Virginia, don't really know where, but this is a little bit too slow than what I was planning on. I had about 90 miles to go to the campground that I'd planned on. So instead of having to wait here 3 hours, which means that I would have been getting there well after dark, there's another campground that's about 56 miles away, and I only have to wait an hour here to charge. So gonna adjust the mileage a little bit. I'm really not losing that much of my 250 mile range goal each day, and if I wake up early enough tomorrow morning, I can more than make up for that mileage that I'm missing out now. By stopping at this campground, I think that there's electrical outlets, which means that I can charge the bike overnight. I'll have 100 miles whenever I wake up. So right now, I've got 32 miles to go and only 30 miles of range, so I'm slowing down my rate of speed a little bit to see if that helps. The elevation getting up here kind of ate into some battery. I should have gone a little bit past 56 miles of range on the charge, that last charge, but I really needed to get back or get on the road so that I wasn't going at night. So I left the charger station. I'm all the way at the top of this mountain range. I don't even know how far away I am now. I left my camera on that charger station. Now I have to go back. I don't even think I have enough range to get back. And it's raining. So I'm currently at 20%, or I'm sorry, 18% with 20 miles. Romney, which is, I believe is the town where I left my camera, is 22 miles away. So as of right now, I'm 2 miles short of where I need to get to. And so I'm dropping my speed considerably in the hopes that I can make it and that this camera is still there. I just bought this camera a month and a half ago. You know, this just goes to show the frailty of electric. Maybe not all electrics, but especially ones that are not equipped with anything level 2. The longer that I'm away from that camera, the greater the chances of it being stolen. And I barely have any service, so I could at least call the front desk at the Southern Inn and ask them to secure my camera. And I think that's probably what I'll do. Hey, Miss Gina. My name's Ben. I was just on the back side of your building, and I think I left my camera like right near those electric vehicle chargers. Would you be a doll and go and see if it's still there? And if it is, could you grab it for me? And I'm on my way back now to pick it up. I'm about an hour away. Hello? Yes.
Yeah, I found it.
Okay. It's at the front desk now?
Yes.
Okay, I'll be there in a bit to pick it up. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Bye-bye. Last night was rather uneventful after I retrieved this camera from the nice lady at the hotel that I charged at yesterday. Just about got everything packed up. Got 83 miles of range and my next charging station is at 69 miles, so should be fine getting there. Gonna eat some lunch or breakfast and then get on the road. Truck's brakes are smoking from going down this hill. This random charging place out in the middle of nowhere. This quirky little town right next to it.
that's what I love about having the electric vehicle, is that it forces you to stop and be somewhere for at least an hour. And you know, there's so much that you can see in just 1 hour of being in a location. And when you have like a really cool little town like this, you know, you probably wouldn't have even blinked an eye to stop here if you were traveling by the interstate just in a regular combustion vehicle. So I really like these little breaks that I get while I'm charging. Kind of helps me appreciate my surroundings and appreciate just the things that you would normally see. Today's kind of a turn and burn kind of day to make up my backtracking I had to do last night to go pick up my camera. So this is traditionally how you do charging, which is you only charge to the next station you got to go to. So I'll only be here for 20 minutes and that'll get me to my next charging station. Then whenever I get there, I'll charge however much I need to get to the next charging station. You don't always have to charge to 100%. Even though I don't like skipping through places, but I have to make up for some lost time, because I have to, if I want to stay or get back on track to make it to Chicago by Thursday. I just crossed 500 miles on this trip. Got 2 miles of range left, and the charging station is half a mile away. And my goal for today is I want to make it west of Cleveland, because I want to have a little bit more time in Detroit tomorrow. You know, it's cool watching the terrain get flatter and flatter as you go west. I was trying to think of, you know, what it was that it really kind of separated things, and there really wasn't. I mean, it's kind of a gradual change. Like, what is it about each state that makes it unique? And those would be the things that I would want to go check out maybe the next time I do a trip. Like, what's the only thing that you can find in Ohio? And then that would be a video, and then one to the next state and one to the next one. Because I can sit here and show you footage of each state. For the most part, they all look the same. It's not really the terrain that separates them. Or maybe there isn't much that separates it. I mean, obviously the terrain is different, but in most of your neighboring states, it's all going to be relatively similar. It's a cool looking church. There it is. I made it to Cleveland, or close to Cleveland, at a Harley dealership. Should be done soon. 322 miles so far today. Hard to believe that yesterday I was in Virginia. Total is like 550 miles that I've done so far of the last 1.5 day-ish. Would have been here earlier had I not forgotten my camera yesterday or last night, but I'm back on track now. This is always the longest part of sleeping in a tent, is the 30 minutes it takes you to get out of your sleeping bag. Slept on this, I guess it's a construction site, but it was the only place around here that wasn't, let me spin you around too fast, that wasn't a swamp. Because I'm just, I don't know, 2 miles away from Lake Erie, so there's a lot of marshland around here. This was like the best place that I could stay for the night. Hotel rooms were like $180, Yeah, right.
So one of these guys at this construction site just came up here on a steamroller. He was like, "Can I help you?" It's like, "No." "What are you doing up here?" It's like, "I camped here last night." And then he just drove off. So I'm guessing we're cool. Alright, so today should be a relatively easy day. However, or at least mileage-wise, it should be easy, but if you look up, it is incredibly overcast and it's already starting to sprinkle a little bit. So even though it's going to be a low mileage day, it's still going to be a not fun day. Now when I get to Detroit, I think I may get a bigger bag for up top for all of my gear, my camera gear. Because whenever I leave to go anywhere, I always have to take this bag and this bag. And so I'd rather just have one bag to take with me. That tail bag, I don't think it's really holding up well. And now our journey continues. So I'm in Milan, Ohio, and if this isn't the most American-looking town you've ever seen, look at this. All these cool little shops. Here I am thinking that I wouldn't see anything really interesting today because I was just heading to Detroit on some old roads, and you happen across this little historic town. That's what makes these trips so much fun, is just the things you come across that you never thought you'd even see. It's been really interesting to see the landscape changes, but also the industries. Virginia, Pennsylvania, and here in Ohio too, there's a lot of farming, but there's more industrial steel work, more iron work here in the Midwest. So a lot of the architecture and the aesthetics has kind of a grungier, rusty brick feel to them, like that building right there. That's a perfect example. It's just really cool vibe. I mean, he said he reset the breaker. I mean, now it just says charge point. It doesn't even have the same message that was going across. All right, so the charger here at this dealer is busted. So I've got to ride north to another one. I'm gonna check to make sure that one's working first though. Drove to a different dealership about an hour away from the previous one. Charger here was working just fine. And I also picked up a bigger bag for all of my camera equipment. I had a small tail bag on there, just wasn't really cutting it, so this is much better option. That was a wet ride. There's Chicago. That sucks. She's on the phone too. Okay. $1,100 miles.
I am pretty exhausted, so I'm really looking forward to exploring Chicago with my fiance. Tomorrow, we are riding to the Harley-Davidson Museum up in Milwaukee to go see Ewan McGregor's LiveWire, which is kind of the only reason why I picked this as like the midway point. Long way up kind of inspired me to get into electric motorcycles. I love going to new places, discovering new things, and I especially love doing it with Jennifer because it's like every time we go to a new place, not only am I finding out something new about where we're at, but I also find out something new about her. Turns out that when she was a kid, she loved dinosaurs just as much as I did, and so we found ourselves spending quite a lot of time in the dinosaur exhibit. It was just something really cool to share with her. I look forward to doing more of this in the future with her. You don't like being up here?
No.
What? You want to do it?
I regret all decisions. Exploring downtown Chicago with Jennifer was an absolute blast. We made a lot of great memories. And after dinner and a good night's rest, we're going to take off north to check out Ewan's bike. Had a really great time here in Chicago with my fiance. Heading to Indianapolis today to stay with some friends. So I'm currently 5.2 miles away from the charging station. Range says about 4 miles. A little bit risky, but I'm pretty sure that I'll make it. Duck's having to go at a reduced speed. You know, it is not a problem, I feel, with the motorcycle. You could say, well, I wish I had 150 miles of range or 2 miles of range. But if your charging points are further than that, it doesn't really matter what the range is because now you're at the limitations of the infrastructure. And I just so happen to be in a spot between Chicago and Indianapolis where there was like one charger and about 180 so miles of distance. You know, I just think that the infrastructure needs to be there. It doesn't really matter what the range is. If there was another charger in between these locations, then I wouldn't be having this issue.
That's nuts, man. It's like every time I hear a Tesla.
Yeah.
It's like, spaceship or
Bye, buddy. 328 miles to Clarksville, Tennessee at my brother's. I didn't even check the weather, so I'm not even comment on what the weather's going to be today.
that will do the most good. You know, a higher capacity battery only helps out those that have higher capacity batteries. It doesn't help out the rest of EVs that are already out on the road. Alright, what the actual hell? Why does it say that this thing is on the left? What? Are you kidding me? No, I have not arrived, GPS. Oh my god. Where? There's nowhere for me to go. What is going on? Oh my god. I've got to get off this bridge. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Why can I not get there? Okay, this did not exist. There's no way for me to get off this interstate.
This is what it's going to do all day long. Getting stranded last night wore me out more than I thought it would, but I've got to get back on the road. Seems like the rain wants to come with me though. This tour has really challenged me, especially when it comes to the weather. It's just not fun to always ride in the rain. But I knew when I started that I would take a lot of experience and learning from this trip that I could take with me on future trips. There's like 3 main points that I'm going to carry forward from this experience. The first challenge from this whole trip was just the riding for distance. My goal every day was to ride about 250 miles, and while it's important to have a reachable goal, like having a specific destination, I think I tried to travel too far each day using just highway roads. I think 150 to 200 miles is probably a better daily goal, at least for trips that I plan on filming. I think another way to look at a trip like this is just to forget how many miles I can do in just one day, but rather I want to ride as much as I can or as far as I can from this time to this time. Like riding from 7 or 8 a.m. in the morning until like 5 or 6 p.m. in the evening. And that would remove, I feel, all the stress of covering distance, plus it'll give the bike enough time to slow charge overnight. When I was planning my routes before leaving, I tried to do it in the overall shortest distance versus picking routes that had a good network of chargers. And there were a few instances where I was more concerned about the battery percentage remaining. That meant that I was usually pushing the bike to its limits of range. And there were a few instances where I was more concerned about the battery percentage remaining than just enjoying the ride. And I don't want to experience a trip like that ever again. Even though there were some growing pains on this trip, there was one thing that was never a problem, and that is this motorcycle. It's the second one I've ever owned. I've had it for almost a year now, and I can say that not once did I wish I was on a different one. I love everything about the motorcycle. I love the way that it handles, the way it sounds, the way it travels, the way it looks. I wouldn't change a thing about it, and it's been a really great companion so far on this trip. And it took me everywhere I wanted to go. Back over the last 2,500 miles, I'm reminded that in most situations that the journey is always more important than the destination. I think sometimes in life we get so focused on that first and last mile that we completely neglect the miles in between. It's in those miles I think that our journey truly happens, and that's where the fun really happens.